This is another tool review and unboxing, and this is Bestarc. It's a MIG welder. Not exactly MIG because I think it's only Flux Core. MIG stands for metal inert gas, which means it uses gas as a shield. I'm going to find out if this can use gas or not, but it's meant to be used as a flux core welder. Let me kind of zoom in on this details here, and you can freeze the video and look at that. And go ahead and open this box up and see. It doesn't weigh very much. Put the camera on a tripod here so I can use both hands. Not only is the box taped, it is sealed with a plastic wrapper all the way around. I'll go ahead and get this opened up and get right back on this. Okay, for those who like to see the packaging, we got this plastic foam. It's covering the top. We got a box on the side that obviously is going to have something in there. We'll see what's in there in a minute. And has more of the plastic foam, both sides and underneath on the bottom. Little box of do not eat, bag. This has got to be a roll of wire because it's got a little bit of weight. Self-shielding flux core wire. Don't know what kind of wire it is yet. I'm sure it's going to be steel. Shoulder strap or a carrying strap. We'll look at the paper in a minute. Let's see what else we got here. A ground clamp. And a stinger for stick welding. So it's got a stick welder. Let me look inside this and see. It's got a pretty healthy grip on this, and I believe I see metal going all the way through to the other side. I do. It's black, but there's metal on this back side. I don't know why it's got a coating on it, but that's a good sign. That feels like a. Actually, it feels like a very good quality stinger that I would not expect to get with something of this price, with a unit of this price. That's a good stinger for that. I'm not going to say it's the same as what's on my big heavy-duty welders. It's not, but it's very good. I'm surprised it's better than what I've seen on some other lighter duty welders. And this will be the ground's going to go on for both the wire feed or the stick welder. You need that for both, either one. Get this bag off of here. This thing's very lightweight. I think it says it's 15 pounds or something like that. So that makes it very convenient for light duty work that you just need to zip something up someplace. You can just carry this with you, plug it in anywhere. It's a 110 or 120, whatever you want to call it. But let me finish seeing what's in these bags. I don't need to open this up right away because we've got a drive wheel in here that has, I'll set this little wrench aside, and these tips, I don't know where to find these tips. I don't know if I can find out where to find these or not. I'll have to, maybe in the book, or have to go online or call the manufacturer to find out just what tips are compatible with this. I'll try to remember before I put this video up if these match up with any tips I have from any of my other welders. Really the only important thing is the size, the hole size, and these threads. If all of that fits, then the shape of this doesn't really make much difference. And this a .08, I believe that's going to be an 03 wire. And then on this side we got a .09 millimeter, and I mean 0.9 millimeter. So this side here has a little bit bigger groove in it for the 035 wire, and this side has a slightly smaller groove for the 030 wire. So you just flip this over for whichever size wire you're using. Have a look in here and see two flip latches on there, and that's where the wire, that's where the spool's going to go. I haven't looked at any directions on this thing yet. I'm just right now just going on, since I have a few machines like this, not this small, but I've got other MIG welders. I'm familiar with what to expect to find in here. Anyway, this right here is going to be, obviously you lift this up, pull this out, and that frees up your when you put your wire on here, feeding off this direction is going to go inside this little tube here. And then here is the drive wheel, and this is a .0, this is a 1.0, so that'd be, I guess that'd be the size 40 wire, and then the 0.8, that'd be your 30. So you can, we got two different sizes or three different sizes of wire we can use with these drive wheels. I don't know what size wire is in here. This is size 1, so this is your 40. So let me put this 1 back in here, and I'm assuming the one facing up is going to be, yes, this tube coming out is lined up with the groove on the top, not the one on the bottom. So when it's time to, let's go ahead and put this on here now. I'll unwrap this. This is just what it comes with. I mean, you can buy wire anywhere. Any welding supply or a lot of hardware stores will have wire. I gotta put it on this direction because it comes off going this way. soon as all else fails, I'll read the directions. That's how most of us guys are. Where's the nut? The tighter you screw this down, the more tension you're going to have on your spool coming off. That might be a little bit too much tension there. Not sure. You want it to come out, but you don't want this to loosen up and bird nest. So this is not going to be done just yet. This is not plugged in or anything, so, and I need it plugged in so I can feed the wire through there. So I've kind of jumped the gun a little bit. I'm just going to clamp this wire in here just briefly for the moment until I get myself together here. And then we'll set it up proper here in a minute. I don't know where this goes. I got to find out where this goes. I missed where that came off of. I got this pretty well straightened out, this cable. You want this thing fairly straight when you feed wire through it. This part was kinked way around here. I guess it was wrapped around there like that. You don't want that when you feed the wire through there. And in here, this just pulls off. This was not even on there tight. You want that snug down a little bit more than finger tight. This is a welding pliers. It's got a little groove in there for put just a little snug on there. Doesn't need much. Put this, and you gotta make sure that's the right size hole. This is a 1.0. That's for that 40 wire. Put the shield on it. Looking at the back, it has an on and off switch. I do not see a place to hook up gas. So it's not a true MIG welder. It's a wire feed, in my opinion. It's a Flux Core wire feed welder. Somebody might disagree with me on that, but because MIG, in my opinion, needs gas. Like this gas bottle back here would go on a MIG welder. So I've got electric over here. I'm not ready to plug it in because I didn't feed this wire through here properly. Let me see if I can zoom in on that a little bit, maybe get a better view. I remember where this goes now. It goes on top of this little drive wheel here. Okay, you always want to, if you can bend it straight, it's okay, but Flux Core has a tendency of only bending a little bit one time and then it breaks off because it's hollow, got flux inside. Nip that off. Hang on to this, don't let that bird nest on you, don't let that loosen up. It'll spring away and unwind on you and become practically unusable. Now, see this little coiled wire tube here that I'm feeding that through? There's another one inside here. You can't see it, but I can. And I gotta make sure that this wire is going inside of that. Now I can continue pushing this through. I'll hit resistance trying to go around this corner, but I don't need to. I'm going to go ahead and close this on it. And this also adjusts how much tension you have between the drive wheel and this little bearing here, this little wheel, and this little idler wheel here. Well, I think I have to have this on here before I put the wire in. There we go. Okay, now it should be ready to says feed wire. Okay, there's a button here for feeding the wire. That's nice, because a lot of them don't have that. A lot of decent quality machines don't have this feed wire button. You have to just pull the trigger for the wire to come out. I don't like this tight kink in there though. I wish that was a little bit stiffer. Well, let me turn this thing on. The on switch is back here where my left hand is. I'll bring the camera down so we can see what's going on. I am plugged in and got the wire started, and we'll go over these features here in a minute. I did look in the book to find out what I wasn't quite understanding. There's a chart inside the lid here, but this also goes to a bigger welder from this company that does have gas. This welder does not have a gas supply to it. The closest thing you can do is if you can get a lift TIG gun that has a gas hose on the gun. You can plug that gas hose into a bottle of argon and use the lift TIG. I don't have a lift TIG gun this size. These little holes that you plug the leads into are too small. My TIG welder is a lot bigger than this and it uses bigger plugs, so I can't borrow the gun from that. Anyway, I got to find those leads and plug them in. I set them down here someplace close to me. I'll find them in a minute. Here they are, sitting over here on this box. We're going to put the we're going to plug the ground clamp or the work clamp into the negative, into the positive, and then and that's what it says on this book here on page 13 on the how to set connectors for gasless flux welding. And it says to use your, down here where my thumb is, number 6, the use earth clamp plug positive socket. So we'll put that on the positive over here on my left. We'll put the ground clamp there, and then we don't need a work clamp because we'll need that for stick welding. Now let me go over some of these settings on here. Okay, this right here is 2T and 4T. That gives you two different switch options for your trigger on your MIG gun. The 2T is where you want to leave it. You don't want to mess with the 4T. The 2T means you pull the trigger and it welds. You let go of the trigger, it stops welding. The 4T, it'll keep welding after you pull the trigger until you pull it a second time. I mean, in other words, you can pull the trigger to start welding and then let go of it and it'll keep welding. Well, you don't want to do that with this. On a TIG machine, that's just the difference between a finger startup on your TIG torch or a foot pedal startup. And that's handy on a TIG machine, but not on this. You don't want that on this, but it's there. Anyway, and it's probably because the same control goes on a bigger welder on a different machine. Alright, and by the way, that's this button up here where my thumb is. You see it jumping from 2T to 4T. We'll leave it on 4T. Down here underneath that is the size of wire. Right now we're on 040 wire, because that's what size wire we got. You press that button and it changes, and it automatically changes your welding power too. And then over here is the button for your MIG, TIG, or MMA. It's going to use a lot more amperage with MMA because that's your stick welding. That's why the fan turned on. It just started heating up because it was offering more power. The fan will shut off here in a second. MMA stands for manual metal arc, and you don't need to know that, but it just means stick welding. So you'll touch this button until you're on the MMA if you're going to use the stick welding feature on it. Okay, now we can adjust this power for how much voltage is here, and your amperage is up there, and that's for your MIG welder. And there's a chart in here again and in the book for the thickness. Let's just say 1/4 inch is 0.24, 6 millimeters. And we don't have solid wire because we don't have gas with this machine, so it says 21 volts and 140 amps. That's not what you would normally have on most MIG welders, but that's what this one's calling for, so that's what we'll set it at. I'll find a piece of 1/4 inch scrap to practice on. So we're going to set it at the 21 volts, 21 volts. It's going up to 21 volts. Doesn't go that far. That's as far as it goes, 20.7. That's close enough. 135 amps. And over here, where it says this center jig or whatever that word, I don't know how to pronounce that word. As long as that A is lit up, it's automatic. It sets automatically, adjusts your voltage and your amperage together. So whatever you set your voltage at, the amperage automatically adjusts with it. And you can press this button, and then it goes just to voltage. And now you got a 0 up here. You can add, when you're on that 0, you can add or subtract up to 3 volts. Now I see these numbers are going 2.2 to 25 all the way up to 3. That's 3 volts, not 30 volts. Okay, and then you can go minus that same distance all the way down to 3 on the minus side. If you wanted to leave your amperage where it is, but you wanted a little bit more or a little bit less voltage. So, and it automatically goes back to automatic. But while you want to get it on voltage and then reset this to 0, and then go back to, and now it's automatic proper, because if you change your voltage on it, it's going to, next time you turn the machine on, it's going to start out at that place where you changed it to, and it may not be what you want on your next job. So put that back on 0 and then press the button to go back to light up the A automatic again. Let's straighten out this wire here a little bit, somewhat if I can, and then go ahead and feed that through until it comes out. See it feeding there until it comes out here. Taking off a long time. There it is. Okay. Now we don't want that much wire sticking out. You only want about no more than ½ an inch sticking out to get started. And then I got to put a ground clamp in here, and then I got to set up something to weld on. I think I'm set up to do a little practice bead on this piece of scrap here that is 1/4 inch, and it's not real clean. It's clean, but it's got rust on it that I cleaned off with a brush wheel. Should weld on that pretty good anyway. It is 1/4 inch, so we're going to test this thing out at pretty much its max for this little 15-pound machine. And not going to do very much. Not even going to put a welding hood on. I'm going to use these auto darkening welding glasses that are made for just quick tacks or real short welds, because it doesn't offer any facial protection, only for the eyes. So let's see what we got going here. And I got about 1/2 inch of stick out, and I like to lean. I like to support myself with one arm and weld with the other. Otherwise, both hands, I'm all over the place. I'm not that stable. Let that cool down a second, and then we'll knock the slag off and see what it does. This is all real time. I'm not pausing the camera on this. Looking for a slag hammer. Brush. I think the machine works. Now let me plug in the stick welder, and then we'll change this over to stick. I'm going to do that. Let me get the camera set up over here. Okay, this MMA, I'm going to switch over to that. And then I'm going to plug the stick into it. And I am going to pause the camera while I go and grab a rod. But first I'm going to plug this in. These plugs got a little keyway on them. And you just plug that keyway in there and then twist it tight to the right. Now I'm going to go grab a rod. This thing is set at the highest it goes for this 110 welder, and it's at 105 amps and 24 volts, as you can see on the screen there. So let me back this thing off and adjust it for that piece of test plate there, or coupon as they call it in welding lingo. I'm going to back out of it because it's too much light for the camera. Gotta watch where you set this down at, because it'll spark and burn something. I like to let that cool for a second before I knock the flux off. The slag hammer needs a little weld on it. Look what I did. I burnt the jacket on this thing just that quick. Gotta be careful, gotta watch. Anyway, that is hot. Just don't have everything set up for this. Okay, I think we got a good machine here for the price. Very good machine for the price. But it's not a true MIG because it doesn't use gas. They have quite a selection of these if you go to their website. These Bestarc. Of course, there'll be a link on Amazon in the description, and I'll see if I can find a link to their website, the store's website as well. Maybe I can find a link for that, put it on the description. So anyway, there is this little machine, little tiny lightweight thing. You can carry it anywhere and weld. I don't know how much tolerance it has for welding this hot, turned up all the way. It obviously can do it, but how long can it do it? I don't know. These little lightweight machines, discount prices, you don't want to run them full blast, only if you have to momentarily. 3/4 of the way, half, 3/4, that's, you know, you can weld quite a bit with that. It just won't be this thick. You don't need to weld stuff that thick most of the time, so if you do, you need a bigger welder. Oh well, thanks for watching.